kids. Welcome to another episode of Sunday School to Go. I'm Pastor Katie Jans from St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Verona, New York. And I am coming to you now, again, from my living room, from my comfy couch, which is nice and comfortable and a perfect place to sit and read a book. And that's exactly what we are going to do today. I have a story to read to you. That's actually from later in the Bible, and this is our second story for the month of May 2021. And for May, we are talking about what happened after Jesus rose from the dead, after he ascended into heaven. So if you haven't seen the stories or if you don't know the stories already for March and April, you might want to go back and watch those, or at least skim them, just to make sure that you are up to speed, that you know the story. Because all of these has to do with what did Jesus' followers do after he wasn't here anymore here on earth. And in May, we heard the other story for May is the story of Pentecost, the story of the Holy Spirit coming down to the believers and how Jesus was present to them through the Holy Spirit. And in that story, it talks about how the believers started getting together and they started doing certain things. They started helping each other out. They started remembering what Jesus said. They started eating together, and they started talking about what it meant to follow Jesus and to do the right thing. And that's kind of still what we do today. This was the beginning of the church. And people started traveling all over the world to tell people about Jesus. And they started starting new churches in different cities all over the place. But it didn't always go very well. And so our story for today is the story of two people who were traveling around starting new churches and telling people about Jesus, and they ran into a little bit of trouble. Okay? This story is called Paul and Silas. That's the name of the two people who were traveling around together. And I'm going to read this story to you from the Spark Story Bible, published by Augsburg Fortress, Spark House Press. Okay, here we go. Paul and his friend Silas traveled all over telling people about God. Sometimes people were happy to hear them. But sometimes people grumbled. Who do they think they are? God isn't like they say. God's not like that, they said. One day, town leaders grabbed the pair and started to make fun of them. The things you're saying are lies. How do you know that Jesus is the Son of God? Bah! Away with you. Paul and Silas were arrested. They were arrested and thrown into jail. Wow, why would they be thrown into jail? I think that maybe the people in charge they thought that they were causing a big commotion. They thought, these people are disturbing the peace. They're making everyone upset. They're making a big ruckus. We gotta put them somewhere safe. Put them somewhere away where they can't cause any trouble. So Paul and Silas were arrested and thrown into jail. It was a very dark night, but they were not afraid, not one little bit. They knew God was with them. Let's see, there's a picture of them here. What it might have looked like in jail. Okay, they're talking to the other people there. Wow. Paul and Silas are right here. They look kind of happy. They're talking about Jesus, but these people don't look so happy, right? Some of them look a little nervous or a little angry. Not quite sure what's going on. Paul and Silas prayed, sang, and clapped their hands late into the night until suddenly, rumble, rumble, crash! there was a huge earthquake. It shook the jail so hard, the doors opened and the chains fell off the prisoners. The earthquake woke the jailer, who quickly ran to the jail. When he got there, he called, "Is anyone still here?" Paul yelled out, "Don't worry, we're all here." It was then. Why do you think he did that? I bet the jailer would have gotten in trouble if they all ran away. I bet the jailer would have been in big trouble. So he was probably pretty glad that Paul didn't leave, that they all didn't leave. Paul yelled out, "Don't worry, we're all here." It was then that the jailer knew that God was good and that Paul and Silas were good people. They didn't leave when they had the chance. He wanted to know more. So he asked Paul, "I want to believe in God. How can I be saved?" Paul told him all about Jesus. "If you believe," Paul said, "then you will be saved." The jailer believed. To thank them, the jailer took Paul and Silas home and fed them. In the morning, the leaders apologized to Paul and Silas for arresting them and let them go. Once again, Paul and Silas traveled all over telling people about God. And there's a great little question here. It says, do you think it was easy or hard for Paul and Silas to stay in jail after the earthquake? Why? That's a really good question. I don't know. I might want to run away after that. I don't know. Wow, that's a really good question. Well, in addition to that question, we have a craft for you to do, an activity that also is in your activity bag that was delivered to your house. And this one looks like this. It's called Paul and Silas in Jail. And it's pretty simple. It is a coloring page, a coloring picture of Paul and Silas there in jail. But then there are these little holes here and here. And you have some black yarn in the bag here. And you can use the yarn to kind of sew like this. The directions will tell you how to do it. And it makes the prison bars over Paul and Silas. So you can sew it and put them in prison, and then you can take it out, and then they're out of prison. So anyway, have fun with that. While you're doing that craft, you can think about the story. You can think about how it might have felt to be there with Paul and Silas and what it might have felt like for the jailer. You can really picture yourself in the story and think about how excited the jailer, but how the jailer must have been so happy in the end, because not only he still had his job and he was not in trouble, but also because he came to know Jesus. So it was a win-win for him. All right, everyone, enjoy and have fun. And normally I would say we'll see you in the next episode of Sunday School to Go, but this is actually the last episode for this year. So I'm not really sure what to say other than thank you. Thank you for watching these videos, and thank you for taking the time to learn about Jesus, and thank you for doing the activities. I hope that you had fun doing them. I hope this was a helpful experience for you, and we would love to hear what you think, because we're thinking about maybe continuing to do this, maybe doing it starting in the fall again. And if you liked this, or if you have some ideas for how we can make it better, we would love to hear from you. So talk to your mom or your dad or your grandma or grandpa and tell them that you want to give us some feedback on that. And we would love to hear that. And I want to say a special thank you to Miss Betty. A lot of you know Miss Betty. It's Betty Browell. And Miss Betty is a wonderful Sunday school teacher, and she's taken a lot of time to put together those bags for you. and she's done a lot of her own work to do that. So thank you, Miss Betty. We could not have done this without you, so thank you. Okay, everyone, have fun with those activities. Let us know what you think for next year, and hopefully we'll see you either in our next episode for our next, next in the fall for our next episode, or hopefully we'll see you in church sometime. Okay, everyone. Bye.